Hello. So tell people about who you are and what you do.
So, my name is Antonia Kinlan, and I help people to build a business working from home using essential services that they need and coach and teach them to do that.
Fantastic. And you mentioned coaching there, and I wonder
Oh.
what brought you to actually go looking to work with a coach in the first place, Antonia?
Well, a little like how I accidentally ended up in my business. Everything to me is quite accidental and random and a bit comedy. And so, what happened was I had a late ADHD diagnosis, and it was only by chance that I'd met you through a networking group. And I had no idea what ADHD coaching was. I was like, how do you coach ADHD? And at the time, I kept thinking, I'm not struggling to cope with ADHD because I always known there was something slightly different about how my brain works. And I've always put things in place. That wasn't really the issue for me. I actually need help with more practical things like making sure I don't miss a meeting. So I was after more practical things like that. So when we were talking about it, and you said, look, ADHD coaching, it's basically coaching, but understanding why things are happening from an ADHD perspective. That's kind of how I came about coming to it because I simply had the funding there to do it. So, and I'm a big fan of any kind of coaching or counseling or anything where I know it's good for me to talk things out. And that's essentially how I came to it. So it is purely by accident. I'd love to say I decided to get coaching and improve my business and it was purely accidental, but by goodness am I glad I did it. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And then I'm going to delve into that actually now. So tell me
Mm.
about then what has the experience been like of working with me as a coach?
So at first, I didn't know what to expect at all because, like I said, it's like how do you coach ADHD? But I think having met you and actually got on and just thought, here is somebody that I can trust, and that for me is very important. I think that's what's been quite interesting is that there's been space where it's allowed me to speak openly, absolutely without judgment. Um, where and safe space is really important, and I think when you have ADHD, and one of my particular things is around rejection sensitivity. So you have to be in a space where it feels safe because otherwise it is your worst nightmare come true, where you've got somebody that doesn't listen, doesn't understand all this, well, you just do so and so, like this instant fix things. That's not what works for me at all. And what I found is that I could just free rein talk. And by able to do that, that's how I work things out in my brain. But what's interesting is that whilst I can hear the same thing coming out again, I don't know the why. So what my big experience has been is then that you've been able to sit there and you're going, what I'm hearing is this. That's been great because then you understand why it's that. So you have like the label, you understand the labels or the terminology to then say what you're experiencing falls under this category. And this is what happens to somebody who's experiencing this. And this is what it means. And I'm a person that really needs to understand something because otherwise it's like trying to think of a song where you can't remember a particular lyric and and you have to go away and look it up immediately. Otherwise your brain explodes and you sing it forever and sit awake at 3 in the morning going, what is that line? So God bless Google because it wasn't like that in the 80s. Um and and so it's been great because I would never have managed to unpick what my blocks were if I hadn't have come and done that coaching with you. But I don't think I could have done it with other people, which, and it's no disrespect to somebody else who might be, great, but for me, I have to have somebody that really can understand that I need to free flow ramble and I need to work it out myself. And you pick that up about me and you were able to facilitate that, but still be able to pick it out and then bring it all back together and say, actually, this. So I think that's the biggest gift, if anyone else is ever looking at coaching, is having a safe space where you can just free flow talk work it out, but have someone listen and understand where, why, and how those blocks are there.
What's changed as a result of working with me as a coach?
So I was in a very sticky place because when I was first diagnosed, I was quite excited because it was something new to learn about because my brain likes learning. And so I was very, curious and wanted to know why all those things there. And there was resistance from people where people that previously had a very good networking, working relationship with me, friendship, were suddenly like, oh, well, you've got ADHD. And that was quite hard. So working with you helped me understand what it was and come back to myself. Because what happens is when you're diagnosed, you suddenly go down under a label and I particularly was trying to fix my flaws, which I never really thought were flaws other than, I knew there were certain things that I struggled with but I put things in place. So I've veered off on a tangent because of the external pressures, and working with you has always brought me back to who I am. So it's allowed me to find out what was the root cause, and it's been a road and a half because it trying to unpick it. But what is the root cause of all my issues? So and it's like it's the peeling the onion. You hear that classic NAF phrase, just peel the onion. But it has been like that. But it's been quite a raw journey, and you've been there throughout. Yeah, it's made a massive difference because it's given it. Yeah, how do I explain this best? It's brought me back to myself. It's allowed me to realize what the obstacles were that couldn't overcome before because I didn't know what they were. And by working them out, I could almost come to terms with them, but release them.
Okay.
So I feel a lot more free, like I did as a child, where nobody told you that how you were thinking or behaving was wrong, when you could just go and be, and it was okay because you were creative or you were, a bit kooky or whatever. You could just go back to that space. So it's like years of other people's opinions weighing heavily down on me, or these societal expectations where, you know, I still have decorum, don't get me wrong, but just I don't feel like I have to apologize for myself anymore. I think that's a massive thing.
Perfect. What practical tools and strategies have you taken from the coaching, and how have you implemented them?
Ooh, practical tools and strategy. I love this. I think the main thing was every session unveiled another element of what was going on. And so having summaries of the sessions really helped, and a task. So what we realized earlier on, I'm quite task orientated. So you're like, right, this is your task. And it wasn't something where I was like, oh, my homework's not done, but it was something that I could go and think about and then bring back to the table. So it was that how is this going? And I think, and being able to bring back every session would bring you back to how's this going? And those were the tools and things that I've been able to go away with. And actually the biggest tool for me, the biggest practical help for me, is actually no tool or practical help at all more than knowledge. Because once you understand why rejection sensitivity is being triggered or why it's so extreme, and I use that as the example because that's really what's underlying everything, is that is painful for me. Like I've described it as like the pain from rejection sensitivity is like a bereavement. And so the tool of understanding what it was, and so then understanding that actually it's a physiological response, what's going on, makes it less painful. And actually now I can just go, that's actually rejection sensitivity, rather than going, oh, this is just crippling. So that's been that's a release. So the knowledge is the most tool. But the practical steps, the little baby steps along the way where you gave me time to process things and go and take some action, and then back to the next step, is you've got to do it. It's You can't fix things in one session. You can't, is 100% a journey, and you've got to step into that.
And what things have you put in place as a result of the coaching?
I think the biggest work on that level was about, we talk about boundaries a lot, but boundaries are easy to overstep. And the biggest thing that's been put in place is a phrase you use when you went, boundaries. You were like, actually, what are your non-negotiables? And this screamed in my brain because I was like it was horrible. I'll not lie, I hated you a little bit, only because I didn't know how to work it out. And it's really hard because when you're like, I'm a solution finder, and I was like, God, what are the non-negotiables? And it was the discomfort of having to say that. And but you warned me about, when you do this, when you start putting those in place, you will experience resistance. People will not like it because you've always accommodated them. And that forearming was really important, I think, as well. Because where are the pitfalls in releasing yourself from that burden that you've got? So it was definitely about the non-negotiables. And so what happened was I started thinking, and then when things were happening, I could say, actually, that's something I'm not happy with, and I don't have to do this anymore. And then where we peeled back eventually was that it's because I was protecting myself from rejection sensitivity. That's why I was still allowing boundaries to be overstepped. But when it was non-negotiable, I've got to the point now where I've gone, actually, I have to have this happen or not happen for me to function, and I can't help you or anybody else unless certain things are either in place or don't happen at all. And it's when you people please, to stop that feeling of rejection sensitivity is very uncomfortable, but it's very worth it if you just keep going with it. You can't shy away. You've got to be really brave, actually. But you certainly empowered me to be brave, because having somebody going, it's okay to do this, it's okay to be like this, because what's on the other side is so much better. Yeah, I'm very grateful for that, because it can feel very, very lonely.
Thank you. Who would you recommend my coaching to?
I think I came in from the, you have ADHD coaching side, and I don't feel that you are just an ADHD coach or a neurodiversity coach. I think anybody would benefit from working with you. But what I would say is, who would benefit is people who actually want to change something and are prepared to do that work, and sit there and really be okay with exposing yourself a little bit, in terms of like, actually, this is what I'm feeling, but you want a real outcome. If you want someone just to pat you on the head and say, there, it's not your fault, and just kind of blow smoke up your bottom a little bit, go somewhere else. But if you genuinely want to unpick what is going on in your brain or in your reactions, that physiological reaction to things, and why do you feel uncomfortable? Why can't you executive function? What's behind it? Those are the people that need to work with you. And it's not, you get some people where they're not fluffy, but they're quite rude or abrasive. That's not the experience here. It's somebody that is willing to walk with you to genuinely change the things that you're struggling with. So those are the people that need to talk to you. So if you have a neurodiversity, so if you have ADHD, autism, whatever's going on there, you are a person that understands those so well and understands what's going on behind them, that you can help with that. But if you do not have a diagnosed neurodiverse, whatever it is, if you are neurotypical, you are still the right person, because you see what other people don't see. You see what's really going on under it, and make those changes. So yeah, summarize who should work with Mike. No one that just wants a fluffy, their answer, blow smoke up your bottom. Definitely somebody who really wants to make change, but without having someone who's abrasive and kind of aggressive with it. but who actually will hold you accountable to yourself.
Thank you, Antonia. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate your time for
Mhm.
sharing feedback with people.
No, and yeah, I appreciate everything you've done, and I think that's why I'm happy to come and talk to people because this this has made massive changes. And I think it's really easy to feel stuck and not do something about it, or feel stuck and go try and to find somebody to help that hasn't got that experience or qualifications or knowledge. And there are a lot of people out there who can't coach properly because they don't know how. They don't have that skill set. Um, and so that's why I would encourage someone to come and talk to you because if they feel that need to do something, don't get caught out wasting your money somewhere else. I think that's a big thing for me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.